obviously a couple of days since the win over Stoke at the weekend. How pleased with you with that performance result and to get 3 goals?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously delighted with the. They're a strong side, Stoke. You look at the squad they've got. It's one of the best in the league, really. So I thought after that first 15 minutes where we were really all at sea, I thought we sorted it out and well deserved it in the end.
Yeah, Paddy McNair moving into midfield when you made that change. Is his performance there giving you food for thought for the fixtures ahead?
Yeah, I think it's always nice to have some sort of you've got to have plan A's and B's and C's, haven't you, sometimes? So I think that's the problem with some managers. They've only got the one plan, but you've got to be adaptable. And I think we've got the players to be like that as well.
And obviously, Grant Hall got on the score sheet again. A big plus there. Maybe something you didn't necessarily expect. But his return in terms of his defensive performances has impressed many at the moment. How have you felt he's done since he's come back from injury?
Well, I'm just hoping that he can get through these games without picking up anything else, because he's really worked hard, as you can see. I don't think I've ever seen him as lean as he is. I think his first injury, he put a bit of weight on, but in fairness to him, he's really knuckled down in training. And JT, the fitness lad, he said that he's worked really, really hard, and I think he's getting the benefit of that now. He does look really sharp, and I think him and Dale have got a very good understanding at the minute.
Another big plus from the weekend was the finish and getting on the score sheet for Nathaniel Mendez-Lang. Are you seeing him getting closer towards starting kind of fitness levels?
Yeah, I think as I said earlier, if you're out of the playoffs, then you're going to have to give games to lads who you've got to have a look at. Nathaniel's unlucky in some respect is the fact that we've signed so many. We signed wide players in Yannick and Cabana, as well as Marvin's done really, really well. He's unlucky as well, is Marvin, because he's not put a foot wrong really when I've asked him. So it's been one of those things that I've told him when I signed him, you'll have to be patient. I know what you can do, so you haven't got to prove anything to me. Just get yourself fit in the next few weeks and try and contribute before the end of the season. That's all I've asked of him, and that's what he's got to do really. And I must admit, he took his opportunity with aplomb, didn't he? Really, it was a wonderful finish, and I loved it.
Another who impressed at the weekend, you just mentioned there, Yannick Bolasie. With Yannick, is it a case of just seeing how things are at the end of the season as you are with some of the strikers at the club, or has there been any form of discussions so far?
Not really, no. I mean, Yannick's Yannick. I would imagine that he'll be looking at other options as well at the moment with his contract being up. So I don't worry about him or Neeskins really. What will be with them. At the same time, I am looking. I do want wide players, so we are looking at the same situation. I think they're both enjoying it. I think tomorrow will be a real good test for the team tomorrow, because Preston, I think they physically, not dominated, but they were in charge of the game up there against us. Although we played quite well at times, we ended up losing, was it 3? So, we know how difficult a game it's going to be. But I think it's one that we're looking forward to. We haven't got to go gung-ho like we did against Bristol City. Out the trap, brilliant, then to concede 3 goals in 20 minutes. We've got to be a little bit more patient than that. There's, like I said, they're difficult games, but they're all difficult. So we've got to try and enjoy it now while we can.
You said that Stoke game at the weekend came into the must-win bracket in terms of keeping those playoff hopes alive. Is the Preston game the same?
Well, I think every game is really, until we lose a couple, and then that will be it if we did that. So you just got to keep going and firing. What I did say is we're capable of winning every game. I didn't say we were going to do. I said we are capable of winning every game. But when we show the 15, 20 minutes like we did against Bristol City, we're quite capable of losing every game as well. So, I don't, as a manager, you don't really want to be in a situation like I am at the moment, not knowing which Middlesbrough's going to turn up. You can't have that next season. Next season's I've got to know 9 out of 10 what everyone's going to be doing next season.
You mentioned that consistency. Obviously, Barnsley are one of the teams that are in and around the playoffs at the moment. They've had some unbelievable consistency. Do you think this squad at the moment where you maybe feel like you haven't quite got your squad together yet? Is it capable of producing a run like that?
Well, we're going to have to be fortunate. You still don't. I know it sounds silly, but you still don't see enormous amount of goals. Although we have contributed last week, different positions chipping in, which they've got to do, because we have not got a real out and out scorer really. But it's one of those things we've just got to try and enjoy and do the best. I think the fans are quite enjoying it. I'm just crossing my fingers that we've got supporters back at the start of next season, because it does make a difference to me and to players and even to you guys, I bet, as well. It's you don't realise how much we've missed that sort of buzz. Come to even turning up at the ground before a game and seeing the fans. There were 6 or 7 young lads last Saturday outside early doors and waited till way after the game. And not even seen the game. They're mad boys. I give them a signed photograph only because I can't get rid of them. I give them a signed photograph each, and you'd think they'd won the lottery. But they're great, to see lads like that, supporters from that age group. They'll be a Middlesbrough fans the rest of their lives, and it's the sooner we get them back, the better.
Those photos will be straight on eBay now. So looking at
how cynical are you?
Looking at tomorrow night.
That's terrible.
Is there a specific kind of test you expect from an Alex Neil side then?
Yeah, like I said, they really physically dominated us really for large parts of the game up there. So we do have to stand up and be counted. But they've got very good players in areas that if you allow them, they can punish you. So be a tough game. Like I said, I don't think there's any easy game in this league. I think it's as we've proved this year. I think that when we get these tough games, like the next 2 are, I think we're better off against teams like this, if I'm honest.
And just finally, obviously, Darnell Fisher coming up against his former club. Will you be tempted to throw him in against Preston?
Well, he's done really, really well. He hasn't really put a foot wrong. He's just got a rather nasty Achilles tendon problem, which I didn't want to rush him back and then lose him, especially now we've got Dick Steele out for the season. So, but I'm sure he'll be busting a gut to get in the team and see how they are today. Because Jed picked up a little bit of a knock, didn't he, on Saturday? So we'll just have to see this afternoon when we're all in.
Are any of the other lads any closer to a return?
I think today both Fletcher and Tav are both going to be training. So hopefully, if not tomorrow, Saturday, I think they could be available before the international break.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Neil. Good luck.
Thank you. Richard.
Hey, Neil, how's things?
Gotcha, yeah. All right, Richard, thank you. Sorry I keep drinking
Good.
coffee.
Keep drinking. Obviously, you've been down this road many times before, and when you talk about the inconsistency and where Middlesbrough find themselves in the table now, objectively, what's your assessment of this group that you've got right now?
Well, they are capable of doing anything. It's not very often I look around the dressing room and know that wherever we go, we can win and play some decent football. It's just tidying up on the little things, the errors and how we get punished for, Having said that, we haven't had much luck decisions-wise either the last few months. I think we've had about 8 or 9 decisions go against us. So, it's difficult to... You've just got to keep going. But we have to improve. We have to become better at not conceding stupid goals when we're dominating games. But I've seen an awful lot of the squad to know how exciting it is. And I know that if we do our jobs right, me, Kevin and Ronnie, and give them the platform, they can be a very good side. And I am enjoying working with them. I mean, that's why I've agreed to stay, because I've not enjoyed myself for quite a long time, if I'm honest.
When you talk about the adjustments you made 15 minutes in at the weekend, do you feel that this is a bunch of players now that is learning and progressing game by game, week by week?
Yeah, they're a group that need help at times. We haven't got any, like I look at Cardiff. Gunnarsson used to do my work for me, and Morrison, they do my work for me. We haven't really got any of those. So we have to help them as much as we can when we see the problems that other teams are causing us. And that's why I was so pleased because people changed positions and did different things within a few minutes, and I think when you saw the fruit, the sort of the benefit of what we did, I think lads can only get more confident in listening to what we want them to do when you change things like that and you get the result that we did.
And when you look at Preston, your next opponents, obviously you've spoken at length about how you felt they were physically stronger than you in that first game. Are you surprised by how much they've struggled, certainly in the second half of the season?
I don't think you give them enough credit, really. I mean, Alex has done a fantastic job there. They're not one of the highest wage bills. They're always, pushing for the playoffs. They have done this season right up till just now. Like ourselves and Stoke, we're all in sort of a group. And to do that year in, year out against all the big boys, I think it's a tremendous achievement that he's done. So I've got nothing but praise for Preston North End. I think, it's easy to criticise teams, but, they're playing against top sides every week, and the squads that some of these clubs have got. So to be up there pushing around the playoffs, I think, it's an achievement, for both of us at this season, I must admit.
What do you take from that first encounter then? What do your team have to do that they didn't do last time if you're going to get a result?
Defend better, really. I mean, they got really 3 goals out of nothing, really. I thought we were quite strong and dominating parts of the game, and then all of a sudden, bang, bang, we've lost the game. So we have to defend better, and it'll be a good test for us. Like I say, I'm learning all the time now. We've got Dale and Grant together, who seem to be getting better every game. They come up against Ched Evans and the different sort of type of players, and it'll be interesting to watch them. I'm looking at all the players now to see. Like I said, I want to trust them all, and they've all got things to prove to me. But it's an exciting time for us. I don't want it to fizzle out, but whatever happens this season, they've. I am frustrated because I think through no fault of our own, we're sort of 8 to 10 points short of where we should have been, and that's being, I think, a little bit conservative, if I'm honest. So we have to have the disappointments that cost us these points, and we have to put them to bed. And it's not easy, we lost Dale for 3 weeks, and we lost 4 games in that period of time to teams that we probably should have beaten. But that's, we just felt so many unjusts this season. It's hard to bounce back, but they showed on Saturday that they're capable of doing that.
And away from Middlesbrough, Neil, it's no secret that you grew up a Sheffield United fan. Obviously, managed the club. I remember being there when it all ended back in 2007. From afar, what are your thoughts on what's gone on with that club over the last?
Well, I mean, everybody knows that Chris has done a fabulous job. But managers have to get on with owners, whether you like it or not. And if it gets very stretched, Chris, he's got his own right to say what he wanted, having been there so many years and done what he's done. But you have to feel that you can work in a situation, and he obviously felt that there were certain things that it couldn't. But that doesn't take away from what he's done, and I'm sure that Chris will walk into another job, in not too distant future. But it just shows you, doesn't it, how football is. It's such a. I mean, we talk about the Championship, but the Premier League, wow, you don't get any escaping in the Premier League, and if you're not right at it, and if you can't score goals, you haven't got much of a chance. So I think he'll be disappointed. But I think of all the teams in the Premier League, I think Sheffield United have suffered more than anybody else because of the lack of fans. Bramall Lane is such a special place, bloody hell. It's a gold star. You get a gold start at Bramall Lane. And to have no fans, if you look back at their problems, it only started with the pandemic. They were doing quite well. I think they were top half the table when the pandemic started. And then they didn't really have great results, but they kept in the league. And then obviously it's been a disaster this season. But I think they've missed the fans more than anybody. And whoever takes over will be hoping that Bramall Lane's that hotbed, and because the noise, I've been there on great nights, and there's no better place than Bramall Lane on a full house, and some of the games. I look back and I think I smile to myself. When I look at Jagielka and playing in goals against Arsene Wenger, I look at Arsene next to me and he's shaking his head. I think of days like that, and then we beat him 1-0 even with Jaggy in the goals. It's the crowd are unbelievable and down there, and so like I say, I hope fans everywhere around the country. I've got good memories of most places, and it is a special place. But it was disappointing yesterday to see them as they were yesterday, without any leadership and guidance, and they just looked like that, didn't it? Really, but that I think they'll buckle up again and give it a go for the remainder of the season. But it is sad. But listen, football's like that, isn't it? I was there 7 years, so I was there probably 2 more years than Chris, and I felt let down when I left. I fell out with a higher key like he has. So you are a little bit bitter, but life goes on, and when he gets to his next club, he'll think, wow, this is a breath of fresh air now. I can go and enjoy myself again, and that's what I did, and I'm sure Chris will.
Well, that's why I asked the question, because obviously recording your situation, and it's a big hole that's then left to fill, because, I mean, what was it, 10, 11 years before they finally challenged for the Premier League again after you'd left?
Yeah, it's sometimes you have to be careful what you wish for. When you get success, I've had a lot of chairmen over my career when I've got success that they thought it were down to them, and not really wanted me in the publicity. Well, I thought I was getting a bit too much publicity, etc. But it's got to be a joint. It's got to be a joint thing. The manager is the one that you guys want to interview and speak to, and you've just got to get together really. And my most successful periods have been, when I had Derek Dooley as my chairman, when I had when Mehmet Dalman down there, and I've had a few good clubs where Simon Jordan, unbelievable. So when I've had that confidence in the guy who's running the club, I've always worked better. Similar situation here. It's not like working here. It's like it's like a hobby, and I'm enjoying myself, and I want Steve to enjoy himself. And he's been under it for years and not had an awful lot to cheer about. I want him to look forward to games like I do, and enjoy himself, because what he's done for this club is unbelievable. So I want to try and put a smile back on his face every week if I can.
Well, let's hope you're enjoying yourself again tomorrow night. Cheers, Neil.
Thank you. Dawn.
Hi, Neil.
Hi,
how are you
Dawn.
doing? You mentioned Nathaniel earlier on. That goal, how much confidence will it give him? Bearing in mind, you encouraged him to come to Middlesbrough so you could sort of take him under your wing and stuff after what had been a really difficult time for him.
Yeah, the thing with Nathaniel is the time that he's had out, and the period of his life in turmoil. I don't think this season's the main thing for him. I wanted him to come with me because I know him. He hasn't got anything to prove to me, so I just want him to go along steady. And eventually I want him to play 2 or 3 games, yes, but I don't want to ask too much of him. And, I think it was the best thing for him to do, really, come with me, because now he can take it in his turn. And, I think the training that he's done and the extra work, I think you could see that in his finish. It didn't faze him one bit. He knew what he was going to do. I didn't know he could do that, if I'm honest. That was a fantastic finish. I would have hit the goalie's legs. But it's a super finish, and it'll have done his confidence, no doubt whatsoever.
I was just thinking, some of the fans, a couple of fans I know at the weekend, was sort of saying, before the game, it's probably too late now, probably can't make the playoffs. And then you go and win again and keep yourselves in with the chance. That sort of up and down, win, lose, draw, whatever. That must be incredibly frustrating for a manager. It
is. I haven't got to think too deep into it, because otherwise I'd become bitter. And it always gets me in trouble, doesn't it? The number of points that it's not really been down to us, the team itself. It's been into inadequacies in other departments. So it's been disappointing this season, especially the last couple of months. But I think it makes you stronger, if I'm honest. I think it makes the group stronger, and I think they've got so much to prove. And I know that if they're on the game, we can beat anybody, and we've just got to cut out these 15, 20 minutes of suicide and stop, conceding goals in silly situations. But I think I'm more happier with the Grant Hall back in place, where he's a little bit more steady-headed. He's a little bit more, he doesn't let things faze him, and I think that rubs off on everybody else.
And do you still talk to the players much about reaching the playoffs, or are you basically now just saying, look, go and enjoy it, see what you can do?
Yeah, that's what I'm basically saying. I said to them on Saturday, you don't need me to tell you that it's a must-win game. They're all must-win games. I mean, I think we could win all 11, but I'm biased. We'd have to have a lot of things going for us if we were going to win all 11. But we're quite capable of doing that, and likewise, we're quite capable of losing tomorrow night and Saturday, and then we're looking at next season. So, unfortunately, we don't really know, and the fans don't really know which team, and I'm sure Craig, the local journalist as well, Joe, we don't know who's going to turn up at the minute. And so, I want to eliminate that kind of sort of thought process next season. Whatever, but without giving up on this season, we've got to be a lot more reliable in situations next year. And
how do you do that?
Well, you get players on the wavelength of yourself, and if they can't do, you replace them, and you try and get. I'd like to think that next season I will know what 9 out of my 11 players will do every week, every game, and the other 2 might be the 2 that might win me a game.
We talked over the last few months about various players who are influential. How much or how important is Paddy McNair to your team?
Well, I mean, he's just showing that he's got more strings to his bow. That's a lovely saying, isn't it, Don? That I'm quite pleased with myself with that. He can fit in everywhere, really, and never heard him moan once. He's just a gem of a lad. I'd liken him to a lad I first signed at Scarborough called Craig Short, who, just like my son, I could trust him. I could trust him 100% every game, every training session, every time I saw him. And that's what Paddy's like, really. I don't have to say anything to Paddy. He does it himself, and I'm lucky that I've got a few Craig Shorts in the team. We just need to add 1 or 2 others. We need to add a Helgeson from QPR or what I mean, that type of striker, and just fill in 1 or 2 areas to give us a little bit more opportunities to win the difficult games that we get. And
possibly, do you think more leaders as well?
Well, we use that word, Don, but I don't think there are. I look at the Premier League now, and your John Terrys of this world and Ferdinand, they aren't there anymore. Because they're not allowed to be now. Everything's pass, bloody pass. You've got goalies being Beckenbauers and all. It's you're not allowed to be a leader now. So they're not looking for those type of players. So I don't think academies are coaching those type of players. When I watch academy games, I don't enjoy it, if I'm honest. I like watching 1 or 2 of the lads. I've got a lad, Josh, who came in on Saturday on the bench. I've had him with me for 3 weeks, and I've loved his attitude. Absolutely loved his attitude. I can't even tell you what his surname is. What's his? Corbin. All right, I just call him Josh, Big Josh. But his attitude's fantastic, and he's come with us, and he's just fitted in. Only 18-year-old, and if I can, I'll be giving him a game before the end of the season. He's been absolutely brilliant, and that's what I like about the young lads. And you have to train with the first team to up your game and to be at the tempo, to see the difference. And that's what I enjoy. I love watching young lads get an opportunity, and it'd be nice to see him before the end of the season.
Neil, thank you very much, and very good luck.
Thanks, Don. Chris. Yes, got you, Chris. Hi, mate.
Just quickly, I know last time out you sort of said that for the playoffs you probably needed to win your next 3 in a row at least. You did your part at the weekend, but then when you see the results elsewhere, do you think, oh, bloody hell?
Well, you're bound to do, aren't you? Yeah. But I've got to say, I love it. I love it when clubs like Barnsley do what they've done. I love Barnsley. That was my favourite club as a player. We used to go in the social club after me and Pewey after the game, whether we won or lose, and there were all the flat caps, Barnsley lads in there, all with the pints of beer and stuff. And even when we lost and we were bad, we'd walk in there, me and Pewey. We knew we were going to get some stick. But we went into that bar and we walked up, and I used to drink. I think Pew used to get a pint of beer for himself, and he used to shout over somebody, "Warnie, what you having? Are you having a sherry? Schooner of sherry? We a cherry in?" Yes, please, Pew. And of course, all the lads, all the miners and that, all used to laugh at me having a schooner of sweet sherry and we a cherry in. But that's what I drank. But the atmosphere was brilliant, and to see a club like that go on a run like they've done, hey, not everybody's cup of tea the way they play. I've been criticised by similar styles in my career, but there's no divine right. Mick McCarthy's just gone 11 games undefeated. He's won last 8 games, drawn one and won 8 games, and it's an incredible fate at this level. So I think I'm looking forward to going to Barnsley, and competing against them and seeing where we are, because that was my best club as a player. I had a great couple of years there, and I won't forget that. And I think it just shows you that all the big clubs in the world, sometimes it's what's in your dressing room that gets you there.
Do you sort of look at teams like Barnsley and almost have to compare yourself against them to think, if they're capable of that, I know I've got the same in my dressing room. We can do that as well.
Oh, definitely, yeah. The same with Cardiff with Mick. Mick did a fabulous job there, changing that round. So both clubs and clubs go on runs like that, and you do, you seem to sometimes you just get the rub of the green certain times when you're on runs like that. You don't think that you're gonna the ball's gonna hit the bar and bounce out. You always know it's gonna hit the bar and go in. It's a strange feeling when you go on a run like that. I think we started off very well after the Watford loss, and we got to a situation where we didn't think we were going to lose the game. So hopefully we can have another run like that. But even if we did for the 11 games, it doesn't mean we're going to get in the playoffs. If we didn't lose a game again to the end of the season, you just don't know what. But you've got to take your hat off to Barnsley and Cardiff for what they've done in that game, and when you look at the established teams up there. They'll not want to play teams like that.
No, I'm just looking at the league table there. I mean, you're 8 points behind Barnsley at this stage in the season. Can that gap, can you make that gap up?
You wouldn't have thought so. You would have thought it would be a bit beyond anybody, really. I think, you would, if you're a betting man, you'd say that the top 6 that are there now are going to be there. But, football, it throws so many different things up during the course of a season. And you haven't got to worry about anybody else. You've just got to worry. If we draw tomorrow, it'll all be doom and gloom, or we lose tomorrow, it'll be that's it then, But then we win on Saturday and win next two after international break, and everybody will be talking about automatic promotion again. It's how stupid it is at the moment. So you've got to try and get as many points each game as you can, and try and stay in there. It's better off being in our situation where we are than last season when we turned up looking over your shoulder at doom and gloom. It's far better now, and I think the lads, I have no problems with the lads will try and do the best tomorrow, I'm sure.
And just last one for me, as we get to sort of this point of the season, obviously it gets tense, as the games sort of slip away. You've talked about the fact that you prefer it when Mrs. Warnock is up here with you. Will she be with you for the last few games of the season?
No, she's having I think she's having a break soon. We've not been home. I think she's going to have to go home soon. But the flights aren't working at the moment, so it's a little bit more difficult. So we'll have to play it by ear. I should be here tomorrow anyhow, so I only worry about the next game at the moment.